dama ne waa West Coast Region pare jot na kër musu leen koo gis and $350 suñu réew Gambia.
It's 8 p.m. in Banjul from our studios on MDI Road. This is the news. First, the headlines. The Gambia and China signed a multi-million-dollar agreement for the building of a national conference center. Police prosecutors indict several former officials of the past government for alleged extrajudicial killings. President Zuma expresses outrage at a series of attacks against women and children. And officials say Nigeria is on the way to economic recovery. Well, viewers, these and other stories coming ahead in this hour. I am Abdullah Baji. The Gambia and China have signed a grant agreement for the financing of an international conference center. The signing ceremony was by President Adama Barrow in Fajara. The $54 million project will take 24 months to complete, in time to host the organization of Islamic Conference Forum held in the Gambia. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hussein Dabo, and Ambassador Zhang Jiang of China signed on behalf of their governments. Speaking after the signing, President Barrow expressed hope that it may mark a new beginning in relations between Banjul and Beijing. Here is an excerpt.
Since the 70s, you did very well here, and that speaks for itself. We are still counting on you to give us that support as a nation, as a small nation, as a developing country. But with your partnership, it can make a big difference for us. As the Foreign Minister said, we are very concerned about our electricity, but you cannot develop as a nation if you don't have power. That is very, very important. And in the area of farming, especially irrigation farming, and the medical sector.
MDI wrote, this is the news. First, the headlines. The Gambia and China signed a multi-million-dollar agreement for the building of an international conference center. Police prosecutors indict several former officials of the past government for extrajudicial killings. President Zuma expresses outrage following a series of attacks against women and children. And officials say Nigeria is on the way to economic recovery. Well, viewers, this and other stories coming ahead in this half hour. I am Abdullah Baji. The Gambia and China have signed a grant agreement for the financing of an international conference center. The signing ceremony was witnessed by President Barrow in Fajara. The $54 million project will take 24 months to complete, in time to host the organization of Islamic Conference Forum to be held in the Gambia. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hussein Dabo, and Ambassador Zhang Jiang of China signed on behalf of their governments. Speaking after the signing, President Barrow expressed hope that this mark a new beginning in relations between Banjul and Beijing. Here is an excerpt.
China have been here since the 70s. You did very well here, and that speaks for itself. So we are still counting on you to give us that support as a nation, as a small nation, as a developing country. But with your partnership, it can make a big difference for us. As the foreign minister said, we are concerned about our electricity, because you cannot develop as a nation if you don't have power. That is very, very important. And in the area of farming and irrigation farming and the medical sector, China has proved itself in the early 70s. And now we are in the 21st century. China has to another level. I know you can do it, and we still count on you. But for this grant, we are pleased, and we say thank you, and we wish you all the best.
Police prosecutors issued criminal indictments in several alleged extrajudicial killings committed by the past government. Those indicted include former Interior Minister Usman Sonko and members of the former president's hit squad known as the Junglers. Police are seeking justice for several victims, plus model journalist Deda Haidara and one-time intelligence chief Daba Marena. Ibrahim Ajata tells us more.
The warrant ordered by the Banjul Magistrate Court seeking the arrest and extradition of several accused persons in Former General, Lieutenant Colonel, several ex-army majors and captains who were mostly known for being part of former President Jammeh's Fiat hit squad called the Junglers. Police have issued 8 case files that detail capital offences and a number of alleged extrajudicial killings committed during the former regime. They include indictments of murder against the arrest of prominent journalist Deda Haidara and former intelligence chief Daba Marena. A common trait in all these alleged murders was the use of guns to kill victims who, according to the offences charged, were exterminated at different locations. One of those criminal indictments names the former Minister of Interior, Usman Sonko, as an accomplished first accused person in the alleged killing of Daba Marena, Ibulu, Aliou Cissé, Alpha Ba, Julia, and Masire Jammeh. Prosecutors contend victims were shot and killed with a gun and their corpses thrown in southern Oldwell near Bulubor village in Fonyi Kansala. And in what is by far the first major towards securing justice in the killing of late journalist Deda Haidara, a former army commander Kausu Kamara and Major Sana Manjang have been sought after by investigators who face criminal charges that name them as the alleged killers of Mr. Haidara, who was gunned down by unknown assailants on his way home in December 2004. Major Sana Manjang, the first accused person in that indictment, also faces charges of murder in 2 separate cases that allege his exclusive involvement in the killing of Darcy and Haruna Jammeh. Prosecutors assert that both victims were murdered by the army major who is currently on the run. Earlier, police prosecutor Inspector Bojang filed an application at the Banjul Magistrate Court seeking for a bench warrant and the transfer of the matter to the High Court under Section 69B and Section 2 of the Criminal Procedure Code. That application was granted by presiding magistrate Aissatou Janenjai in a significant ruling that prepares the case for at the Special Criminal Court. 8 separate criminal cases and a host of indictments moves prosecutors towards serving justice in largely mysterious extrajudicial killings that marked a previous era of oppression in the Gambia. Ibrahim Ajata, GRTS.
Delegates from the union who were in the Gambia for a mission earlier this month have been speaking to journalists at a press conference in Bijilo. Aminata Sanyang tells us more.
They describe a successful mission. The visit is centered on 3 vital areas.
Our mandate was to come and undertake an assessment on 3 key issues. The first one is to look and listen to the people of Gambia on how they want to move ahead with respect to the area of healing, reconciliation, and overall issues of justice. The second issue is how to improve the management of the security and the defense institutions. And then the third area is the revitalization of the economy.
Alhaji Sajoba, head of the delegates, called on Gambians to exercise patience with the government. A development, he said, was a gradual process and required a lot of resources. The AU is committed to work with the government of the Gambia to make sure that it moves towards development. The AU delegation head said they have identified some key areas that the government needs to improve.
There be an environment that is conducive for investors to come in and create, because there are so many people the government can employ. At the end of the day, you need even an enterprising private sector that can come in, but they can only come in when the enabling environment is created, the frameworks are in place. And from everything got from the government, I think that was very clear that they are willing and they are working tirelessly in terms of really trying to get that in place.
They advise the media to continue to play a key role in helping to transform the country.
When the media gets into the business of over-editorializing, then you really get into this. So you have to, on the one hand, be able to speak truth to power, but at the same time, you have to be the professionals that you are expected to be. Your profession requires high ethical values and high standards. And I think our interactions with the media also, since we got here, gives us an impression of young professionals who are committed to what they are doing. And the future of this country, to a great extent, rests with you.
The mission commended the government, people of the Gambia, for their hospitality and promised to stand by the country in its development endeavors. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Aminata Sanyan.
Services has received 2 brand new pickups from President Barrow. The vehicles were handed over to the Minister of Information and the Director General of GRTS. Abdunjai has more.
Content and quality are placed high on the agenda of the new management of the Gambia Radio and Television Services. But the need to deliver in an environment as challenging as that facing the national broadcaster has been hampered lightly by mobility constraints. This the donation of the 2 brand new double cabin pickups by President Barrow through the Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue seeks to address. The move is welcomed by the Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure, Demba Jao.
The GRT is doing extremely well since the beginning of the Barrow government, but it is constrained by mobility, and with these brand new vehicles, it will definitely go a very long way addressing some of those constraints. And well, we can see this as just the beginning of maybe more help coming towards the GRT. I can assure you, with these new vehicles, it will go a very long way.
The Director General of GRTS, Ibrahim Silla, was clearly happy. He commended President Barrow for the gesture, noting there could not be a more suitable time to boost mobility at the Gambia Radio and Television Services.
10 vehicles are lined up for the GRTS. This is the first of the donations that will come in terms of vehicles, and we are looking forward to receiving the 8 very soon, that we can have a nationwide presence. As you know, GRTS, notwithstanding our work that we are doing as alluded to by the Minister, we are engulfed in some serious mobility problems. Almost all our vehicles are grounded. We have only 2 functioning vehicles. And the fact that we have 2 out of the 10 that are to come, I think is a very good start.
This show of solidarity from government is by no means a small one. And GRTS, as DG Ibrahim Silla, has not lost sight of the responsibility and expectation that come with this support.
The Ramadan is coming. We are to start what we call the country tour caravan, where we'll be going from one major city to the other across the country in the month of Ramadan to talk to the people about their concerns, so that God know exactly what the people are saying and thinking. I think that will also help the government to understand the serious problems or concerns of the people, a way of facilitating a dialogue between the government and the citizenry.
Now that content is being improved on, the Gambia Radio and Television Service has raised the stakes in efforts to bring life to television as never before seen in the history of GRTS. Abdunjai, GRTS.
The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Masane Kinte, continued his tour of military installations with visits to Bullock, Kafuta and Dasilame. Ibrahim Jalo went along. He filed in this report. We'll do that story later in the news. Meanwhile, the Department of Fisheries says it has observed that some fishermen are catching juvenile fish to supply to fish meals. It has also noticed that juvenile fish are dumped along coastal communities around Gunjur. A statement from the Ministry of Fisheries strictly warns fishermen and fish transport to desist from the practice with immediate effect. Fish transporters and fishing communities are strictly warned to stop all illegal fishing activities, immediately juvenile fish alive at sea, and stop the dumping of juvenile fish at sea or on land, the release concludes. People in the Central River region recently benefited from access to justice and legal aid sensitization project. MS Jalo has more in this report.
The villages of Mahmud Fana and Batinjol, East Nyamina district of Central River region, were the latest venues for the EU-funded Access to Justice and Legal Aid Project's face-to-face sensitization meeting. The Sensitization Forum follows hard on the heels of a similar exercise in Kintakunda village in Lower Badibu a few days ago. The project seeks to educate the beneficiary community to know how and where to access justice.
Under the adjusted model, we widen the ambit of the campaign to include other essential factors like civic rights and justice, because civic rights and justice is not only about accessing the courts, but on a daily basis, the people in the communities are not looking to where they should go to solve problems, but actually knowing what they are. Because we believe that if you know what your rights are, if you know what your duty is, if you know what your responsibilities are in a democracy, then it will make things easy for you. That is awareness.
The participants at this face-to-face sensitization meeting were drawn from different villages in the Nyamina area and other parts of the Central River region, whose pledged his office's fullest support in implementing the project in the region.
I think it is very important that people are provided with access to justice. People down here, a lot of the communities here, they have a lot of issues, but they do not have the legal tools to be able to have issues. And I think this is very, very, very crucial. Bringing down justice to the community levels is quite an important initiative.
The Awareness Creation Forum targets some very remote communities where access to justice and legal education is very low.
Reaching out to the remote communities will ensure that the knowledge, the awareness actually is extended throughout the Gambia, and it's not the domain or the personal privilege of people who are in the urban areas and in the urban areas. So this is the whole idea of going out to the most remote communities where there have been limited exposure some of the issues that we're talking about to ensure a wider raise their awareness. Because every citizen in the Gambia must have a stake in the Gambia, must know what the laws of the Gambia are.
These participants were enlightened on key issues such as democracy, civic rights by various speakers, including the president of the Female Lawyers Association of the Gambia, Hadi Dande Jabi, who made an explicit presentation on democracy and citizenship. The face-to-face meeting in Mahmud Fana was followed by a series of drama performances by a renowned comedian and actor, Kitabu, and his Fandema group to further spread the message. The Sensitization Forum has been hailed as fruitful, but the success of the project will require proper mechanism at both community and regional level for the sustainability of the project.
One of the suggestions I made was to put up a structure at the regional levels, probably open up a desk office where you have somebody with some legal background, to be able to address, give advice when it is needed to the people around here on legal matters.
Participants like Mamkadi Sise of Patesam village, Pendambai of Mbayam, and Kanye Sise of Mahmud Fana all describe the forum highly educative.
Ndaje bi lu am solo la ci ñun surtout ñun jigéen ñi ndax ñun jigéen ñi dañ xamoon suñu wareef xamuñu woon suñu moomeef te ñun projet bi daf ñu xamal suñu moomeef xamal ñu suñu cër xamal ñu suñu warugar.
Well, at the end of the two-day awareness forum, it is expected that the participants, most of whom are now equipped with at least some of the basic understanding of when, where, or how to access justice. And it is believed to help them to minimize some of the issues that they face among themselves at their community level. Mohamed S. Jallo, GRTS News in Batinjo.
The Gambia Tourism Board recently exchanged ideas with stakeholders on creating more employment opportunities in the tourism and horticulture Janke Ture tells us more.
Personnel of the Tourism Ministry and stakeholders in the sector have been discussing ways in which the tourism industry can best link with horticulturists to promote youth employment. The Youth and Employment Project being implemented by the ministry has a component called Youth and Roadmap. It seeks to shape opportunities for youth employment.
This consultative meeting is to diagnose the gap in terms of the supply chain management of the horticultural producers and the tourism industry. The youth are key in this, because if the youth are empowered through employment, entrepreneurship, we can see this economy will move beyond our expectations.
The project intends to create a direct link between horticulturists and hotels, so that food crops produced by farmers are directly supplied to hotels for sale at desirable prices.
The YEP project is here to look at the links between tourism and horticulture. And what that tries to do is to be able to provide a supply chain management structure where the producers and the end users will be able to integrate and then maximize the usage of the produce.
Officials at the Ministry of Trade say the dialogue comes at a time when the government is focusing on youth empowerment.
The ITC is the implementation agency, the Youth Empowerment Project, which is starting this year and for the next 4 years. And the objective of the project is to create opportunities for the youth in terms of employment and entrepreneurship opportunities in the Gambia.
It is expected that at the end of the meeting, stakeholders will craft a better strategy to establish linkages between the tourism sector and horticulture to promote youth employment in the country. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Janke Ture.
We'll be back with sport news right after this break. Stay tuned.
Hey, Dave. Hey, you look tense. I mean, what's up?
I can't help it. The internet is way too slow.
Dave, why not join the future?
How?
Why not try this?
Wow, that was really fast. Thank you.
No, thank you, sir.
Time in the Gambia, Kisner subscribers can now enjoy 4G LTE on their 4G-enabled mobile phones
at Kaiba Avenue,
Senegambia,
Brufut,
Banjo, and Sekota.
This means that you can now connect faster than ever before with 4G LTE speed. QCell has a wide selection of 4G LTE mobiles and MiFi routers.
QCell's 4G LTE.
To subscribe, dial *335#.
For more information, call 11.
QCell, Suyu SIM, Suyu Boss. We innovate. Orders follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Tanal man no ba yung may tanal mabapit. Ano yun? Lima na Diyos sa hibalim daw yun. Jaral man no ba rin? Go man na.
Sindi na ganun. Kini dama ko Diyos hibalim gimadig.
Wow, luto gi.
Iwan niya ako na Alhamis bu nekk ak Dimanche bu nekk. Dañ tànn juróomi nomba si jackpot bi. Ku gagné juróomi nomba tegal nañ la xone dan plus 1000. Maanaam dene ak lu teg. Waaw. Waaye juróomi nomba yi dafa war a méngoo. Su fekkee ne amoo juróomi nomba yu méngoo am nga ñeenti nomba yu méngoo yow dinañ la jox bonus foo du noonu la.
Bonus foo.
Waaw des na de. Altine bu jot talaata àllarba ak àjjuma. ñu génne waat beneen jackpot. Ne ku gi am ñeenti nomba yu lëkkaloo. ñu tegal $50,000. Maanaam fukki junni. Waaye nag gis nga boo amee ñetta yu méngoo. ñu jox la tam bonus 3. waaye nag xàmmee ko gis nga Gambia géem yi bari nañ waaye gis nga bii green la xàmmee ko waaw xàmmee ko bu baax a baax feneen foo taxaw bu fii di nga fees
lu ma la wax yëpp dëgg la waaye xam nga lu ma lay xamal ma wax nga naan waaw dëgg yow mi sa kanam guddi gi xam nga ne góob ma la da ngeen may koppaloo man ngeen di koppal nañ dem ci office
xanaa nga melu nga
ma ne nee naa nga lañ laa wax
nee naa la ku koy
ay duñu benn
ak loto game ak ay bonus sama xéwalam yu bari fii rek la du feneen.
Welcome back. Workers in the North Bank region have commemorated Workers' Day amid calls for better working conditions. Bolamisane tells us more.
Celebration of International Workers' Day a few weeks ago, workers within the North Bank region also took part in activities marking the day. Marking the day in a memorable fashion, workers here kicked off proceedings with a solidarity march past from Jawel to Bara SAO Basic Cycle. They then settled forum with representatives of the government to talk issues bordering the labor force, notably improve working conditions.
That is the basic principle behind the day. Reflect on our conditions. We look at it and say, are our working conditions fine? Are we happy with our working conditions?
The commemoration also showed athletics, which has become a signature event for the mass media sports in the Gambia.
We have been doing this for 8 years now, but it all started forming what we call a civil servant association. That was way back 2007.
Institutions and companies were accorded a rare to interact as they compete in both field and track events.
All our sister institutions are participating in the region, and for that being the case, we deem it necessary to join them and show our love and solidarity to the rest of our sister institutions.
The beauty of the sporting aspect of the day is the excitement it generated. Aside from promoting a sense of unity amongst personnel from different institutions.
We are looking forward to build a relation with all other participating ministries and line departments. I think that's the most important thing when it comes to May Day, because motive or the main agenda behind the May Day celebrations is to foster relationship between workers.
And all of the events here, the Grizzly Pool offered a spectacle. However, the only person who gave it a shot could not go any further when he threw into the towel. It was the 2nd Infantry Battalion of the Armed Forces who came out first after they swept almost all the events.
The motivation behind this is from the high command, ranging from the CDS down to the private soldier in the military. So in whatever we do, we represent the army to the fullest, and we always want to see that military flag flying in the sky up there.
Regional officers are now looking to improve the event by incorporating such things like symposias as a way of fostering dialogue between workers and the authorities. For GRTS Sports, Modlamin Sane.
International news is next, right after this break. Stay tuned.
Assalamu alaikum Gambia, sen dom la bay borom damay fahas malaw ya ma gën a xam ceeb bu sew di leen wax ne Africell data bundle gaaw na sella wóor te yomba maa ngi taw Snapchat, Viber, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp.
Stay connected to your friends and loved ones all around the world with the most reliable data service. With Africell super fast data, you'll get to enjoy more than just video streaming, downloading pictures and movies, Snapchatting, Instagramming, emailing, WhatsApping, IMO, oh, and such more.
It simply means you can multitask with the fastest and the most efficient data service.
You want to feel speed? Well, try Africell data. Where Africell go, nobody dares to follow.
They came to power on the backdrop of promises to create jobs, enhance democracy, and the rule of law. The enthusiasm among young people was phenomenal, characteristics of trust and confidence in a new leadership. Months down the road, how people feel and how are people's expectations being managed? Is there a form of disconnect between what the government is doing, what the people expect, or is it all too early? Well, GRTS has created a platform to bring government closer to the people in a special new program called Face the Nation with me, Teneng Jite.
And now, President Jacob Zuma has expressed outrage following a series of attacks against women and children. He has called on South African Night Against Violence. CG10's Jolis and Jamela has more.
Known for its struggle with violent crime, even so, this spate of incidents has shocked many. At least 3 female murder victims have been found recently, all of them burned. And here in Soweto of Johannesburg, this family is mourning the loss of a young woman killed apparently because she was a lesbian. Politicians have once again urged Africans to show more respect for human life.
We say enough is enough. We are very saddened about what happened, and we need to join hands, communities, as together with government, community organizations, political organizations, and march against, this ongoing killing of women in our society.
According to Statistics South Africa, 1 in 5 women here has experienced physical violence. Rape and murder are also very high, but conviction rates remain woefully low. In a statement released by the presidency, President Jacob Zuma has reiterated that violence against women has been declared a priority crime by government, and that those who are caught are handed long jail terms. Also urged victims of violence to report the perpetrators to ensure that they are brought to book. Activists want more support for survivors and tougher action against the perpetrators.
Judiciary must begin to implement harsher sentences. Those who have killed get life imprisonment, and we must definitely do that. And we're appealing to men outside there that they must come and help us. It's not the Women's League fight, societal fight.
The president says communities must play their part, condemning violence against women and children and ensuring perpetrators are isolated, brought to justice. On Saturday, a mass rally has been called in the capital Pretoria to protest against gender violence. Judith Sanjamela, CGTN, Johannesburg, Africa.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. The Gambia and China have signed a multi-million-dollar agreement for of an international conference center. Several former officials of the past government have been indicted by police for alleged extrajudicial killings. President Zuma expressed outrage following a series of attacks against women and children. And economic analysts have expressed optimism that Nigeria is coming out of recession. That was all in this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company, and do enjoy the very best of our program. Bye-bye.